Most grieving people don't have someone that says, let's sit down, tell me about what you're feeling. Grieving is everything we feel inside: anger, loneliness, scared, worried, sad. The real work is having someone to mourn with. The healing is in the mourning. So it's grief shared. And us being able to witness people's grief is so important. We're not always built to do this alone.
Welcome to the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast, where compassion meets expertise and care goes beyond the expected. Here, we open the door to a world of understanding, where hospice care isn't just for the last moments of life, but is a journey of comfort, support, and dignity. On each episode, we'll dive deep into topics that matter most to patients, families, and communities, from the essentials of hospice care to the incredibly powerful stories that inspire Heart to Heart's exceptional mission. Founded on a commitment to holistic, patient-centered care, Heart to Heart Hospice stands apart as a privately held company that prioritizes compassion over profits, ensuring every patient receives the personalized attention they deserve. So whether you're here to understand more about hospice care, to support a loved one, or to learn about the impactful work behind the scenes, Heart to Heart Hospice is here to support you. Welcome to the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast.
Hello, listeners. This is MJ Durkin, the host of the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast. We are really glad that you have joined us for this episode of the podcast. We've got some great guests for you today. They hail from the wonderful state of Michigan. We have Connie Doyle. She is a senior bereavement coordinator out of the greater Detroit area. We have the Reverend Dr. Brandon Hempel, who insists on being called just Brandon, which we're okay with that. He is a bereavement coordinator and also a board-certified chaplain. I'll start with Connie. Connie, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
We are excited to talk with you and draw from your deep well of experience in counseling and all things bereavement. Brandon, what's shaking, man?
Not a lot. It's kind of a gray, dreary day here in Michigan, but I'm happy to be on this call with you. Thank you so much.
Excellent. We are glad that you're here too. And Connie, tell us just a little bit about your background and then how you started with Heart to Heart Hospice.
So I have my master's degree in counseling from Oakland University here in Michigan. And I became the first intern in that program to ask for an internship in hospice. And my supervisors looked at me, the professors, and said, why would you want to do that? No one has ever wanted to do that before. And I said, I'm very interested in grief and loss. And so I pursued my own internship with a hospice company back in 1991 and became again, very interested in why no one was talking to the children that were in these families. And I ended up designing the children's grief support group and just really, really learning so much in that internship, and have been working in the grief and loss field ever since then. I came back to hospice with this company about 12 years ago, and am now the senior bereavement coordinator here, which I love because I believe that our other bereavement coordinators really need to be supported and mentored, and to know that they are not alone and how important this role is.
Nice. Was there a particular incident or something that made you feel that grief was your calling?
Absolutely. I have two other siblings. And when I was 7, my middle brother was 10, and my oldest brother was 13. Our father, who was a brittle diabetic, passed away from pneumonia. When people ask me, why do you do what you do? I couldn't do that. That's so depressing. I mean, I really feel that my childhood shaped me to want to help others, to want to understand my own grief process better. And that meant going to counseling myself on and off during the years.
Got it. Yeah. And Brandon, you've been on the podcast before, but somebody may be just listening to this episode. So tell us a little bit about what brought you into grief work and what the calling was, and give us that background. Assume that you have not been on the podcast before and that this is the first time.
All right, sure. I have been a pastor for 27 years, and along that, a co-vocational pastor who does church planting work, and with that, looked for other sources of income that would cooperate with ministry. And one day, hospice found me through a series of friends. And when I put the pieces together with my invitation to be a chaplain, what just lit up in my mind was the time that my father had cancer, was on hospice care, and passed away. And I remember that nurse. Her name was Sarah. I remember the beautiful care that my father received, but that my mother and I received as well as a family. And that's part of what made me say, I know I can do this and I want to give back out of that. So over the years, I've pursued further education in ministry and also just spiritual direction, counseling, and grief specialist certifications, different things, my chaplaincy stuff. But it's all just, been pieced together to make me right for this time and to do bereavement work now after, 8 years of chaplaincy. Um, it's beautiful to transition into the bereavement side because I get to walk with the people who then lost somebody and spend that next year or so with them on their journey. And I absolutely love that. And it's an honor to be a part of it.
Wow. Did I hear you say that you've planted churches?
Yes, yes. In ministry, I was in a couple traditional church settings on staff and then felt God's call to venture off and be more apostolic in my ministry and start planting churches. So I have been what we would call a missional community pastor. I specialize in starting small communities, small groups, small biblical minded groups of anywhere from 10 to 20 people that meet in homes or coffee shops, or even have a mission to develop into a larger congregation over time. But I disciple those people. I also coach and train the pastors who are trying to do that. So I'm also a church planting coach nowadays as well.
Well, are you also delivering Uber Eats and
You know what? That's hilarious that you said that. Because last year I paid for my wife and I to go on a cruise by driving Uber for 6 months. I said, I'm only going to drive this until we pay off the cruise. And I stopped and it was perfect.
I love it. I love it.
And we went on a beautiful cruise.
Oh, that's great. Well, my son and I wrote a book years ago. We've written 14 books together, and one of the
Cool.
books that we wrote is called Cold Calling for God.
Oh,
And it's about strengthening the membership within a church. And
okay.
we had a lot of fun writing that book. So, Connie, I do want to zero in on your geographical range so that people, especially from people listening from all over the country, but in Michigan, tell us, you have 7 offices, you call them, are out of the Detroit area. Just tell us a little bit about geographically what that covers.
So we cover a huge area here in Michigan. All of our offices are able to service kind of a radius of about an hour out from that office. We try to have our offices close to major highways and things so that we can get to people. So big offices, they're all growing. They all have been satellites based off of our Bingham Farms, Detroit office here.
Got it. Got it. And Brandon, tell us what your area is.
Yep, I am the bereavement coordinator based here in Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan is where our office is. Our office, I believe, was birthed out of the Flint, Michigan office that came from Detroit. As Connie shared, they just spread. And from Lansing, we have also developed the branch in Jackson, Michigan. And very recently, we are overseeing the launch of a new location in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So technically, we are overseeing that. Our ED is the director there. And as it grows from its infancy, into adulthood, it'll acquire its own, overseeing employees, and we'll slowly let go. But we will always have Jackson as a part of what we do here in Lansing, Michigan. So each one covers, like Connie said, a 50 to 60-mile radius from its hub. And so that creates a huge coverage area that we are walking around in Michigan.
Helping people deal with end-of-life issues and
You got it.
Anticipatory grief. And Connie, you stay with the folks for, is it 13 months after they've kind of entered into working with you?
Absolutely. 13 months is just a beautiful period of time because, as Brandon mentioned earlier, we're with people for a lot of those firsts, first birthdays, first holidays, and of course, that first anniversary of their loved one's death.
Mm.
So we're making phone calls to them during those months. We're sending out very helpful grief and loss literature. And one of our most important phone calls is that first phone call, maybe that 6-month phone call, and then that 11-month phone call to say, hey, we're still here. We remember you. We remember your loved one. We remember your story. And we know that their 1-year anniversary is approaching. Let's talk. Let me
Mm.
support you. Let me witness your pain and your grief that we know you're still moving through and that you're still healing from.
Yeah, really well said. Um, I'm going to ask both of you this question. I'm going to start with Brandon. Brandon, talk to us about why it's so important to witness a person's grief.
I think that time to witness someone's grief is important because it helps those on the outside to see what people go through, to see what grief is all about. It allows grief to be a shared experience, which helps people who are grieving walk through that.
Mm.
And it helps it to just, there was a time in different cultures when a time of mourning was a very serious, critical part of people's lives. And people would wear, and some still do today, a black armband or something to signify that I've had a serious loss and I'm grieving that and I'm still in that time of grief.
Mm.
And it's important for a grieving person to have people see that and recognize it and give value to it and give love and compassion to it.
Mhm. Connie, talk to us about your thoughts about witnessing grief. How well do we witness grief in our public, in our nation, in our nation's psyche?
So most grieving people don't have someone that says, let's sit down, let's talk about this.
Mm.
Tell me about your loved one. Tell me about what you're feeling. And one of the big things I really like to educate people on is there's a difference between grieving and mourning. And many people don't know this. So let me share this because I think it's very valuable. Grieving is everything we feel inside. Okay. Maybe anger, loneliness, we're scared, we're worried, we're sad. The real work is having someone to mourn with, someone to share those stories with, those feelings with. So the healing is in the mourning. So it's grief shared. That's where the healing is. And that's why us being able to witness people's grief or have other people witness your grief is so extremely important. We're not always built to do this alone.
Well, it's very well said. And I think one of the issues that people have with grief is that in supporting someone with grief is it's just not easy. It's out of the comfort zone. My wife, Bonnie, will call it emotional bravery.
Yeah,
You got to really have some emotional, guts to be able to sit there with someone and to feel maybe your own grief come up,
absolutely. So
right?
Brandon has referred to that as kind of walking with someone. I always refer to it as companioning people,
Mm.
being with and for them. And it makes us uncomfortable sometimes. We, wouldn't be honest if Brandon and I said some days are tough, but we aren't here to fix them or take any of that away from them. We're here to walk beside them and companion them through it.
Mhm.
Is there something about, and I'm just searching in my own mind because a good podcaster is very curious about many things. So, a good interviewer, what is the spiritual connection or what is the magic with someone else that witnesses? I mean, because I could say, well, look, I'm good with my emotions. I've been through counseling. I have good emotional intelligence. I can just grieve on my own in my room. What is the magic spark? Either one of you can answer that the witnessing provides for me.
So again, I think it's when you're grieving alone in your room, all of that is staying usually internal, right?
Right.
So the healing and the magic is in sharing that grief.
Mm-hmm.
And our culture was really good at that years ago, as Brandon mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The whole village grieved together, right?
Right.
The
Right.
wife wore black, men wore the armbands. Everybody knew someone died in your family. Everyone came to the service. You were allowed time to have your mourning acknowledged.
Yeah.
And so that has disappeared from our culture and society.
Well, you're describing ritual,
Yes, absolutely.
right? It was a ritual that helped people to move through their
Mhm.
emotions and have the community grieve with them, support them. Today we've stripped as much ritual out of things as possible.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah. Um, so Connie, you mentioned this, but I'm going to ask Brandon this. Talk to us a little bit about the year of first things. Talk to us about what you mean by that, Brandon, when you say the year of first things, because there's a very unique thing that happens when you lose a parent, anybody. Talk to us about that.
Recently, talking to one of our newly bereaved families on the phone last week, and one of the things they said was, I had no idea how hard Thanksgiving was going to be. Their person had just passed away in October. And so the year of first that I often tell people that we're there, to journey with them in is the first major holidays without your loved one's presence, the first wedding anniversary, the first birthday, the first birth of a new child in the family. The list could be huge of what the first things that come for a family in a year when they hit it and go, oh my gosh, dad's not here now.
Mm.
And I didn't know that this would bother me. And so that year of first is, Connie uses the word companion, which is beautiful, to companion, to walk with, to journey with. And I like to talk about sitting in the pit with people so that they can just grieve and cry and feel out loud what they're feeling inside. And we want people to know that we're not just here to help you when someone dies. We're here to also help you as you wrestle with these moments in this first year. And if you need us longer, we stay available to you for longer. But we're especially here to walk through those first initial hard times that can sneak up on you if you're not thinking about it.
Yeah. Connie, talk to us a little bit about the year of firsts. And you've got not just the holidays, which are brutal. You've got anniversaries, birthdays, every year we did a camping trip and now we're doing it. We're having our family reunion and mom,
It's
dad,
tough.
brother, sister's not going to be
Mhm.
there. It really shows you the hole that is left in your life.
Absolutely. It's tough for people.
Yeah.
And I think people really anticipate and struggle with those approaching dates coming. So it's nice when we're able to talk with them and say, what are you planning for mom's birthday? Have you talked to the rest of your family? Are you thinking about going to the cemetery for the anniversary? What are you doing during these important dates to honor your loved one, to talk about your loved one, to remember your loved one?
Yeah, that's really good. Again, so what I hear Heart to Heart Hospice doing is continuing, not seeing this as any kind of an isolated incident. Okay, they're gone, you grieve, you're done. And there's a lot of issues that are going to come up along the way, right, Brandon?
Absolutely. And a lot of times they don't realize what those things are. And so when they get that letter from us or that phone call, or they see my card stuck to their refrigerator and remember, oh, I can call Brandon. We're there to help them in those moments that kind of take them off guard, or they know it's coming and they just don't want to go alone and they can reach out to us.
Great way to say it. Connie, you run two different support groups that people can attend, and
Mhm.
talk to us about what happens. What does a support group look like, sound like? What happens there?
So, a support group is a safe, sacred place that
Mm.
family members can come to after they've lost a loved one. And it's hard for families to walk through that door for the first time. They may not have met us. They don't know who else is going to be there. They're worried if they're going to cry. So a lot of times I give people a feel on the phone for what support group is like and how they will be welcomed with open arms, and that there will be other people there that have similar thoughts and feelings that they do. And it's a time just for people to share what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're worried about, how they're dealing with their loss on a daily basis, or for some, how they're not functioning very well. And we do a lot of education, just providing whatever support we can to them.
Mm-hmm. And Brandon, you do some similar support groups as kind of as needed, as you said?
Yes, I make it known to the people that I serve that I can visit with you by phone call. I can visit at a coffee shop. I do video conference meetings. I recently met with someone for about 5 months who was in Colorado, and their loved one was here and they died. And we met through video conferencing, and I provided grief support that way. And then I also meet in smaller groups of anywhere from 2 to 5, 10 people, whatever interest I have at a time. I'm open to provide that for them, and just, give them that safe space to grieve out loud and not feel judged, not feel rushed or pushed through their grief, but have the space to feel what they're feeling and walk through what they're experiencing.
Yeah, very, very, very well said. So true. So true. So let's pivot a little bit and let's talk about the staff, the teammates at Heart to Heart Hospice. Let's start with you, Brandon, talking a little bit about, as you know, I love the word Kalamazoo.
Bing Crosby sung a song about it.
I haven't looked that up yet, but I remember Corporal Klinger on MASH. He was testing the microphone one time and said, "I know a girl in Kalamazoo, zoo. Zoo,
That's
zoo."
the song.
Yeah. Is that the Bing Crosby song?
That's the one.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I only know the piece from Klinger. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So
That was great.
yeah. If we're gonna have a great time doing this podcast, if we're doing MASH references, we just may lose some of the younger folks. But
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll use some more up-to-date metaphors and stories as well. Talk to us about your staff in Jackson and Kalamazoo and East Lansing. Just tell us about the people. What are their hearts like?
I work with absolutely beautiful people. It's one of the reasons I love working with Heart to Heart. It's one of the things that drew me here and has kept me here, is the love and the care and the friendship and the family that we have as a team. So I work with our nurses, our social workers, our aides, and everyone in between, our office staff and our doctor. I get to touch base with everybody, and I get to see how much they love what they do. I get to hear the stories of why they're in hospice, and everyone has some kind of a story that sparked them to wanting to give back. And so our nurses are absolutely beautiful. My time as a chaplain is wonderful in so many ways, but also it has given me opportunity to watch them in their disciplines, each of them, the nurses, the social workers, the aides, everybody, and the love and the care that they give, the respect, the dignity that people feel when they're cared for. Our team is so very, very good at that, and I love them for that. And I consider part of my job as our bereavement coordinator and a chaplain on the team is to take care of our staff and care for them. So, I offer opportunities for them to get together over some rolls and coffee and to vent, to grieve. I give our staff time to grieve with me and talk about things and share. And when they do that, the blessing for me is to hear their stories and just to continue to know how deeply they love and care about what they do and the people they care for.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I was just going to ask you, do you all have your own issues with, grief and
Yes.
being burnt out and,
Yes.
and this is not for the brief of heart. I'm trying to come up with a phrase. You got to have a strong heart and a loving heart to be able to do this work, but it's got to take its toll on you sometimes.
It does. And if I could share a little story,
Yeah.
when I started here, every Wednesday morning we have team meetings, and our executive director would put these bagels and cream cheese out for the meetings. And I kind of made it a joke because they just ran to a random grocery store and bought whatever. And one day I said, there are much better bagels in town. We could do a lot better with this time. That launched into them discovering that I have a food trailer ministry and a deep passion to cook. And I quickly became the breakfast person, providing lots of food every Wednesday, which turned into her coming to me saying, our team hurts too. Our team becomes angry. Our team experiences all of this too. What do you think about having something every month? So I have a nurses meeting once a month, a home health aides meeting once a month. I have a Jackson team once a month, and I provide them some more food through the company. The company buys it, I prepare it, and the time is to sit down and let them grieve, let them be angry, let them be happy, let them be sad, whatever it is. And so it's really cool. I think that's a testament to Heart, that we have a supervision and a leadership who says, we care so much about our patients that we also care about our staff, who we want to be healthy and whole as well. And we want to build into them. And I get to be a part of that.
Nice. Now, are these called breakfast with Brandon, brunch with Brandon?
They're called whatever. Yeah, anything like that. Usually it just shows up on the calendar as the Lansing Nurses Team Breakfast, and bereavement is kind of what it goes. But
bereavement burritos.
Yeah, they know that they come to the meeting and I provide a list of all the people who passed away over the last month. And we start there. And also the bosses are not allowed to come to the meetings so that they can even talk about their boss struggles or job struggles and vent a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to help the whole team be healthy because our patients get better care when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if there's stored up emotions and problems hanging on people, a friend of mine just literally this past weekend passed away. He was 88, great guy named Carl. And he used to say all the time to us, he'd say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And shared is halved again. He was famous in our circles for saying that. Connie, talk to us about the people in the 7 offices. I wanted to compliment you on the word that you used about your support groups. I wrote it down. I forgot to mention it, that it was a sacred space.
Absolutely.
For people to come in and witness and do what my old friend Carl said, was just to share the problems and see them lose their power, right?
If she doesn't say it, Connie also gets the bereavement coordinators in the state together every couple of months. She pulls all of us together to support us and give us that same kind of space. So
perfect.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. Because it's so important, we can get compassion fatigue, right? Every new employee down in this area of Heart to Heart, we do a new employee orientation, and I get time to go in and work with them and talk about grief and loss and bereavement. And the biggest thing we talk about in that time period is how to take care of yourself. Not once a week, not once a month, but something little every day, because what they're doing, everybody on our team is such an important person. Their role is so valuable to that patient and those families. So it's so important that we take care of ourselves as caregivers so that we can keep going and taking such excellent care of patients and families.
Yeah. That's excellent. Really, really well said. I mean, I don't think I've mentioned this yet on this podcast, but my father was a benefit of hospice care. He was 58 with lung cancer and emphysema. And I just felt that every single person that I interacted with in hospice, if we had the internet back then, 34 years ago, I would have written some amazing reviews about the aides that were there, their compassion, their skill, their ability to just hang in there with us and just be there. They were angels. I would have written that in the review. I would have said they were angels that came to assist us through our Father, whom all of us, we just adored him, you know. Uh,
Absolutely.
so tell me your reviews. What do people say, Brandon? What do people say about Heart to Heart Hospice in Michigan?
Well, another blessing as a bereavement coordinator is when I make those calls, I get to hear the family say, "Will you tell nurse so and so how much I love them? Would you tell that home health aide? I've forgotten her name, but
Mm,
she was there and she did this and she was so loving to it. Would you tell?" And I hear those stories every time I call, and they sing their praises, and I get to share. I will pass that along. And so the reviews that I hear, you know, occasionally you feel the call that's a little rough, because sometimes experiences are rough when someone passes away. But it's also a blessing to hear those and help people walk through that. But I come to our meetings every week with as many stories as I can. Hey, I want you all to know I talked to so and so, and they pointed you out, Nurse, Sierra, or Nurse Lauren, or Nurse Michael, and they want you to know how awesome you were. It happens regularly.
yeah. And Connie, we're talking about in Michigan with Heart to Heart Hospice, over 400 staff members that they're
Yeah.
doing everything from the small things to the big things to the,
Mhm.
I mean, you have a heck of a network.
We do. We have such gifted, loving, caring colleagues here. And just like Brandon said, it really makes my day, and it makes
Mhm.
me proud of what I do here, and proud to work with the people that I work with here at Heart to Heart Hospice, to hear the testimonies that these families are giving about our staff, and that they could not have done this without them. We often hear that word angel that you
Yeah.
Mhm.
stated.
Yeah.
They do a hard job, but they do it with such grace and dignity while they're supporting these families.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Let's see. It would be about 32 and a half years since my father passed. I can tell you that hospice aide that was there, I talked about my father saying the Our Father during a meeting
Mhm.
at his house. Um, that gentleman's name was Ken.
Okay.
Now, I do admit I have a supersonic memory and kind of like gorilla tape, but I never said that before. But I remember Ken was the one who said to me, "Boy, I've done a lot of hospice work and I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anybody, speak the Our Father while they couldn't even lift their head and lead 20 people in the Our Father." So,
Mhm.
really
That's
good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still remember his name, Old Ken. So, well, this has been a really, really great conversation. By the way, maybe Connie answer this. How do people go about, if they're listening to the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast, what are the ways that they find you?
So they can find us. We have a website.
Mhm.
They can find us on the internet. Those
Make a
are,
phone call, right?
yeah, phone calls. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely. We have intake admission coordinators. We have hospice reps that will come out and meet with families and talk to you about hospice and how we can help support your family.
Wow. So a phone call goes to the right person that can assess where they're at in the process. And then, maybe they need to talk to someone like Brandon right away, depending on what stage they're in, right? I mean, it sounds to me like if someone needs some kind of help in pre-bereavement at any point coming up to the end, Heart to Heart Hospice is a place to call to immediately get some connection and some support. Am I getting it right?
Absolutely. And even when someone's loved one maybe doesn't come on to our services, maybe they pass too
Mhm.
quickly, we are here for support.
Mhm.
We often get calls like that, or just
Mm.
somebody from the community looking to talk to somebody or get some information on support groups,
Mhm.
or I'm in need of a grief counselor. Can you help me?
Yeah.
So we are valuable resources.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let me say that to all of the listeners. If you get the feeling that I get from this conversation with these two amazing people, you've just found a source to help you with your grief in just about any stage and any form, and they'll be willing to talk with you. I think that makes me feel good. I like that. I like that you're there in Michigan helping people. So this has been a great conversation. We often ask our guests to tell us a little something personal about themselves. Connie Doyle, talk to us a little bit about the personal life of Connie Doyle. You may not have like some secret, James Bond type of existence. So we don't need anything as thrilling as that, but let us peek into who you are.
I have two wonderful daughters, 23 and 27, and I'm very, very proud of them, both college graduates and both working and, kind of finding their own path.
Nice.
I have a little dog, Scooter. He's a Maltipoo who is 15. We still walk every day. He's hanging in there. He can't hear. We do a lot of sign language at my house. I am an avid kayaker, paddleboarder, love to hike in all kinds of weather. So I stay very busy year round.
Nice. Nice. I like it. Scooter. I love animal names. I love animal names. They're so good. Scooter. We have a dog named David Bowie. My sons, we call him Bo or Bowie, and my son and my daughter-in-law, they, any kid in the world would be happy to have them as the parents. They really love on them big time.
That's great.
Very cool. And congratulations, your daughters don't live in your basement. So,
right. Correct.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
My job is done.
you're helping to heal the world in many ways. I like it. That's good. Brandon, tell us a little bit more about you. Talk to us. I call you the minister mechanic. So tell us
There you go.
else you want to tell us about you.
My wife and I have 5 children. They're all adults. 2 are married, 1's engaged, and we haven't had any boomerangs yet. So we're still just her and I and our dog. We're dog lovers, and our dog's name is Gracie. We love to go camping, fishing. I also hunt. Before I was a minister, I worked for General Motors, and I was an engineering mechanic, and that has never left my heart. I love working on cars, so I have a garage full of tools, and my 69 Chevelle is out there that I get to tinker and play with and drive and hot rod around and pretend like I'm 18 again and have a lot of fun. So I'm also a drummer. That's a fun thing I do in my free time, and have drummed in a lot of different bands and worship bands and things like that. That's one of my places to relieve stress, is on the drum set or outside chopping wood. Cut up some firewood. That's another good self-care spot for me to be. So
nice. Now in the camping, there are various stages. If you never camped, there's tenting camping, then there's pop-up trailer camping, then there's full, kind of like small to mid-sized RV or trailer camping, and then there's full-sized, Prevost motor coach. Where are you at in your stage of?
We started out as rustic tent campers. And then one day during my youth ministry, when I was a youth pastor, a missionary family gave me a hard side trailer and said, it's a 1968 Yellowstone, whatever, we've kept it in the barn, you can have it. That got us off the ground, and we never went back. We're still in a hard side trailer today with a bunch of the modern luxuries that we in our 50-year age appreciate very much. You will not find us back on the ground or without, a little kitchenette probably ever again. A lot of friends say, you're just glampers. And we say, we receive that. No problem.
Yep. We'll take it. Yeah. I remember when, after spending down at the Natural Bridge in Virginia, was our last on the ground, as you say, experience. We had so much flooding in the tent. My mother was like, never again. She told my father, Tom, if I don't get a pop-up trailer, I'm not coming. So
there should be some kind of medal of honor given to parents who go tent camping with children in bad weather, because that is something else.
Yep. I've eaten a lot of hamburger helper with rainwater in it.
Understood.
Connie, you've experienced something similar?
I remember tenting with young kids, and I mean, everybody's dirty all the time. And yes, then when it rains, everything is soaking wet. And yeah.
Why did we think this would be fun?
I know.
But us kids thought it was fun. We didn't know what our parents were going through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad it's something that we experienced, and the kids still talk about it today, but we don't camp anymore.
No camping. It's the Hilton or nothing. Yeah.
Right.
So, well, Connie Doyle, Brandon Hempel, really great conversation today. Thanks so much for being here today on the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
So to all of our listeners, let us say that we appreciate you listening. We'd greatly appreciate it if you might recommend the podcast. People that are in the audience of the podcast are people who can use this as a resource. You could be a minister, you could be a nurse, you could be, Brandon, give me other names of people that might be listening in doctor's offices.
Yeah,
right?
doctors' offices, people who are experiencing grief of some sort. Yeah, anyone. We are here to help in that regard. So, yeah.
And Connie, any other ideas of people that typically refer people to Heart? And are we missing any of the referral sources that might use this as a resource?
People who work at group homes, assisted living, independent communities.
Right.
Yeah.
Assisted living communities, nursing homes.
Yeah.
Right. This would be a great place. Hey, if somebody's not ready to talk with you, with the phone call or sending an email, maybe just listen to the Heart to Heart podcast and get some help from that. And then when you're ready, you'll be ready. So
absolutely.
Yeah, this could be a great way for the whole profession to refer people easily and say, hey, have you searched online for Heart to Heart Hospice podcast? They have one, and it's a great source of information. So to all of our listeners, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast.
That concludes this episode of the Heart to Heart Hospice podcast. Be sure to check back regularly for new episodes and get connected to our guiding principles and our commitment to patient-centered care. We'll see you on the next episode.